steps, 5 steps, I can count. Step 1.
Get money.
Pick your pony. I know that everyone's like, oh yeah, money's the first thing. No, money's not the first thing. The first thing you gotta do is pick what pony you want to be. Step 2.
You want to decide on the design. So, like, say, my Celestial last year, I went with Disney Princess themes. You have to decide, are you going to do like a gala pony, or are you going to do a changeling pony, or are you going to do, you have all these things to think about on how you want to focus your design.
Ponies is so free because there's no actual, this is how you're supposed to look. Unless you really, really, really want to go off the movie with all that to do. So you get to decide on your design. Third step is research your supplies and plan your budget. This is when the money comes involved. How much can you spend on your costume? It doesn't have to be a lot, and to make an example of that, Mary and I are dressed in very, very different cosplays for a reason. Mary has her extravagant, lovely costume that she has handmade, down to a gorgeous wig, her wings over here, which you can come up and look at the end of the panel, which will have another set of wings coming soon that you can take a look at. And I am in what is known as a closet cosplay. I am hangover cadence.
I see it.
So we wanted to show you that cosplay doesn't need to be this big extravagant contest. You can wear lower things and still be cosplaying and still have fun. So 4th point.
You want to gather your supplies. This can be whether or not you just go on one trip and gather everything, or you spend months trying to find all the various deals that you can possibly find, use every coupon you can find to gather your supplies together.
Excellent. And we'll go over all these points in more detail as we go through the presentation. So gathering your supplies, going out. We'll have lots of, again, the document where you can get different things locally. Mary will be your best voice for that one because I'm not local. I live in Vancouver, Canada. So if anyone lives up there, I can tell you where to get stuff there. Otherwise, we'll point you in her direction because she lives in Seattle. So the next step is to actually make the cosplay. And then when I say make a cosplay, I don't just mean sewing. I mean exactly like, Mary made her cosplay. She sewed it, she crafted, she spent hours on it. I went and bought a pink house coat and made this today. like 10 minutes ago. So there's lots of different ways to make a cosplay. You don't need to be an expert seamstress to make a cosplay. And on top of that, we'll go a bit over how there's no shame in actually commissioning your cosplay from other people. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with buying your costume and altering it to make it yours. Okay, so you don't need to be a triple grade A awesome crafter to make a cosplay, or especially a pony cosplay, and have fun. Right? So, pick your pony! In more detail. So this can be anything from show, your own creation, OCs, fluff and puff. Someone else's creation. I know a lot of people will go on DeviantArt and find OCs and be like, oh man, that's so cool, I'd love to cosplay that. If you're going that direction, do ask the artist for permission before you do it. I mean, normally they don't care, they feel really honored, but it's usually polite to ask. So this is step 1. And I know a lot of people will tell you, oh, you have to plan your budget and stuff, but for me, when it comes to My Little Pony cosplay, picking your pony to me is the most important step, and that could be whether you want to dress as Spike, whether you want to dress as one of the Diamond Dogs, whatever you want to dress as from the show, your own creation. That's step 1. Yeah, Jedi Pony, make your own thing up, and make it fun. Find something that you're going to have fun wearing, that maybe suits your personality, maybe suits who you are as a person, something you're going to have fun wearing, you're going to feel comfortable wearing. Make it your own. To me, that's always the most important step, is who in this fandom, what in this fandom do I want to be?
The next one is
You were on the next one? You did. Backwards. You did it.
oh, okay. You already said that.
Oh.
We had some cool pictures.
We do have some cool pictures. You know what? Maybe you can show people. Let's go. Okay. Oh wait, stop. Okay, sorry. Can anyone see that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. There's our lovely Mary, dressed as Princess Celestia from last year.
It's quite a change. saw Sunset Shimmer.
Sunset Shimmer is running around
Yes.
today.
Is that
amazing.
DJ Smackdown on Tumblr?
What?
DJ Sunson?
Local photographer.
Local photographer. I didn't catch who this was, but they made an amazing rarity.
She lives in, locally as well, so you'll probably see her a lot at Soccer Con or in City Comic Con.
Again, I do have this PowerPoint available to share, so if people want to see these closer up. There you go.
So next step, more detail, is picking your design. She touched a little bit into it, where you kind of just want to make something that's really you. Because with ponies, ponies aren't human, so you already have a lot of freedom right there into making it more of a humanized design. I mean, I've seen, like we saw a Link pony last year in the costume contest. Seen plenty of Jedi ponies. I've seen all these crossovers. I've seen like Japanese versions of all the ponies. I've seen like all kinds of stuff. Like you have like pretty much limitless. For a family fun, you do want to stay a little bit appropriate, but.
And we've got the most epic music for this explanation.
I think down in Lobby I saw a Luna Spartan for Ponyville.
Yeah. Yeah. Great designs here. We've got the Cadence and Shining Armor. Do you guys want to stand up and show off? We've got Crystal Kingdom Cadence and Shining Armor and his almost Spartan. You can have them later for photographs. We'll hold them back for you.
Did Verdi do your hair?
She did. It didn't look this great, at first, but those middle steps are important.
So I'm seeing a lot of cosplay already, and I'm enjoying it. We've got superhero Spike over here.
Dog and Pony Show Spike.
Dog and Pony Show Spike. That's awesome. I love that one. This isn't whiny. This is whiny. We've got
I love your wig.
Oh, thanks.
we've got-
I'm trying to do Sweetie Bot from Ponyville Craft.
Oh, excellent.
Oh,
See, there you go.
it lights up a bit.
Aw, that's amazing. See, I'm seeing lots of cosplays and I'm loving it all. They're all different designs. Even if you take a look around the room at everybody's sort of unique take on their favorite character or the character that they're wearing, like it's all sort of different. We've got two different Applejacks and they both look awesome.
It's on like there's
Yeah. Are we have an apple blue back there? Oh, she's hiding.
Put her in the spotlight. She wasn't ready.
Yeah. We got apple fritter over here.
Got it.
No,
Mike,
nobody
there's
knows.
a Big Mac too, so kind of
Big Mac?
family.
The whole apple family. That's great. I'm loving it. So yeah, so like she said, just own design. Do it. Doesn't matter. The great thing about I reiterate this every year at my local conventions. Nobody can tell you you're doing it wrong. Because what is wrong? You're taking a pony and you're bringing it to life. And you can either take what they've done at the Equestria Girls movie, and that can be your version of that version, or you can make your own version. There's so much freedom with My Little Pony that we're allowed to be creative, and that's the wonderful thing about it.
I haven't seen Demon and Sunset Shimmer yet, so one of you needs to get on it.
Yes, I want to see that next year.
You should do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so next up, I kind of combined these two because I found that in finding your supplies, you also want to plan your budget. So again, you want to plan for what you can feasibly afford. You don't need to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a cosplay to have a good time. But you can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a cosplay. I'm sure you guys spent quite a bit on yours because I can tell how much craftsmanship went into those. Again, comparatively, Mary obviously spent much more money on her cosplay today than I did. I think I spent $20 today. Yeah. Nice little pink house coat, some PJs.
Got a little face on it too.
It's got some-
You got a crown. A little like monster.
I think my hair cost more money than everything. And yes, it is my real hair.
Yes, dedication.
See, this can be your biggest restriction, but everyone can work around it. You don't need to have a huge budget to get an awesome cosplay, But do be realistic. Like, don't put yourself into debt to make a cosplay because you might end up regretting it. I know I have.
You can always make a costume over time too.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like, oh man, the convention's in a month, I have to get a costume ready. You might be like, oh, I'm gonna start on my costume now and it'll be finished by next year.
Yeah, you know, like, I know for a fact, because I watch her on Facebook, that Mary will start her cosplay pretty much after the convention's ended. She's like, all right, next year I'm going to be this. And then she starts working, and I watch her progress all year, and I'm just,
And then I scrap everything and do something else.
yeah, and then she's like, oh, what are you doing? So yeah, this is one thing where, after, again, you can give us your email, and any of us who've been cosplaying for a long, long time are more than happy to help you with this part of it, because it can be the biggest struggle, is finding things at cost, knowing how to make things at cheaper cost, and how do I do this, where do I go, researching your tutorials on, I really want to make ears, but I can't afford the really expensive Warbler, the really expensive molding clay. Is there another way I can do this that's more in my budget? Lots of tutorials out there, lots of DeviantArt tutorials, lots of cosplayers who are more than willing to share their secrets to help another cosplayer out.
Model magic is really cheap and really lightweight.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, we do have a list of lots of different places you can get different supplies. So part of the biggest thing is going to these places and researching what you can afford and what you're comfortable using. So that's the other thing. Like if you've never ever sewn before, if you really want to, go for it. Jump in and just do it.
That's how I sew.
Yeah, I totally promote it. If you're comfortable enough to just grab some fabric and just give her, do it. But if you're not comfortable and you think you might regret it or whatever, like don't feel shame in using hot glue or duct tape or getting someone to sew a piece for you, or going to Value Village and buying a shirt and then altering it with scissors and hand stitching, or like there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely, especially with ponies, because of how much freedom you have. There's like, I know our Applejack over here, I saw her sewing some hand stitching some things under her overalls this morning, and I was like, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, budget doesn't have to be big. You can do it.
So we have a list of supply places that you can go to. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of Joann's or Michael's. They're pretty local. You can find them mostly everywhere. They're going to have a lot of great supplies. They're going to carry model magic. They're going to carry craft foam. So like these wings are made out of craft foam. You can make armor out of craft foam. You just have to do some sealing work on it. I actually have been using Mod Podge to seal craft foam. Yeah, which you can also buy at Joann's.
Yep.
And then Joann's also has fabric, and they have beads, and they have hot glue, and they have most of your basic supplies. So between Joann's, Michael's won't have fabric, they'll just have craft stuff. There's Carter or Hancock fabrics that locally that you can also go to. Pacific fabrics are going to be a tiny bit more expensive, but they also have a bigger variety. So those are some really good places that you can actually drive to and go shopping. Then online, some of those websites I recommend is Distinctive Fabrics. That's where I get a lot of Beaufort. They have some really great selection for that. Side Fabrics, which is kind of a harder website to navigate, but they got some cool fabric there as well. And Fabric.com, because they have free shipping over $35. So I use them a lot. Spoonflower, if you guys are familiar with that, that's where you can get your custom printed fabric. So if you want to make a bag, or you found this, like, you made this print, you're just like, I want this to be on a bag for my costume, then you can actually do that. You can get it printed with Spoonflower, and they would mail it to you. So you have those options as well. If you guys are looking for, like, if you're doing armor and you need Velcro strapping or like nylon strapping or any of those like utility type of supplies, Seattle Fabrics is a really good place. They have a website and they're also, honestly, I think so. I've been there a while. But yeah, they are in Seattle. So I'm wearing color contact lenses.
No, I'm not wearing any contacts this weekend.
So there's plenty of places to get color contact lenses. Do plenty of research first, because you really damage your eyes really easily. They actually, in the United States, it actually is illegal for somebody who's not approved as an eye doctor to sell color contact lenses. Because too many people destroyed their eyes with them by buying them from like a convenience store or something, and they weren't educated on how to wear them. So most of the websites that you're going to be able to order them from, so you don't have to go pay a lot of money in the eye doctor, because they're kind of expensive, is honeycolor.com, Pinky Paradise. Those are both located in China. I think it's Korea.
Is it Korea? It might be, yeah, you're right, it's Korea.
And
Good
then
contacts.
youknowit.com, they're out of Europe. So they'll have a great selection of really cool contacts. Just be sure to do your research. Like I'm wearing 9mm, so they're kind of more familiar like regular contacts. They're pretty comfortable. But circle lenses, you want to really limit the time that you wear those because like you're not getting, it kind of covers your eyes so you don't get any airflow, and that's how people injure their eyes really quickly is if they wear those too long. Don't sleep with them. Oh, too long.
Yeah, basically, if you're gonna go down the route of contact lenses, which you can do, and they're a great addition to costumes. Not always mandatory, but I know a lot of people who really would prefer that little extra addition. Like Mary said, like really look into it, because this is one of those things that you can really hurt yourself doing.
Your eyes are important.
Yes, your eyes are very, very important. So while these websites are great, and I will vouch for them because I've bought tons and tons of contacts off them, and I've only had, I think, one problem with contacts. Or there was one year where I bought like Celestia and I pulled them out, rinsed them off, and tried to, one went in and was like, great. The other one was like, oh, why? Oh God, why? Okay, we're gonna cover that side with the bangs. Just be very careful and don't push yourself. Don't wear them for too long. If you feel like your eyes are getting dry and they're just not moisturizing, take them out. Just, don't, for the sake of cosplay, this is not one of those things that you want to, in the name of the con, harm yourself, because these are your eyes we're talking about.
Quick question about the contacts. Do like those sites actually have like prescription ones?
You can, yes,
It's
yes. Yeah.
very hard to find them in stock, but if you wait long enough, you're bound to find it eventually. I have a mild prescription, so these are prescription.
Back there?
That was a nice.
Same thing, yeah. You can get prescription lenses, and in fact, most often I recommend if you've never had contacts before and you have the accessibility, and this is easier for me to say because I'm Canadian and it's free, yay, is try to go to an eye doctor and at least get your eyes like measured and to make sure you don't have like any problems wearing contacts in general. Like, typically your eye doctor will tell you, yes, you're fine. And I had a friend go in not that long ago because he wanted to try wearing contacts, and his eye doctor gave him a free sample of just regular, plain, clear contacts and said, try to put these in. And he got one in, and it hurt so bad that he just was like, I can't wear them. So that was a good thing for him to find out before he spent a lot of money on buying contacts and figuring out that he couldn't wear them. So if you are going to go down that route, it can be a little bit more expensive for you costume-wise, but I would definitely recommend making sure that you're okay to wear contacts before you go down that route.
Yeah, I definitely recommend an eye doctor.
Yeah.
Because they'll also train you. So they'll, like, my eye doctor spent a week training with me every day for about an hour to get the contacts in, because it literally took me 2 weeks to be able to put the contacts in. So
My first time was what?
you'd be crying and you'd be like, I'm so embarrassed
No
because I'm
one-
crying in front of my
No,
doctor.
yeah, no one gets them in easy the first time. I'll tell you that right away. No one gets them in easy the first time. I think the first time I wore contacts, I was wearing honey when we were in high school. And I was like, I'm gonna wear these super cool goldie brown one. It'll be super easy to get in. It took me 2.5 hours to get the first contact in. By the time I had it in, I was like, I don't want to do the second one. But it took less time to get the second one in. And after that, it's shorter and shorter time because it's just getting used to sticking your finger on your eyeball kind of deal. So if you do go down that route and you're trying to put the contacts in and you're not having any luck, just be patient with yourself. Know that I don't think I've ever met anybody who's just been like, pop the first time. It just doesn't happen because you're sticking a foreign object on your eyeball.
And then next topic is costume wigs. I'm sure you see a lot of wigs in here. A great source would be like Art of Wigs, Epic Cosplay. They have really good wigs as well, especially they have actual like Rainbow Dash and Twilight wigs. And then eBay, that's where actually where I get more wigs. So that's kind of a hit or miss, and you'll eventually learn where to go. And then
So we have newer to the market, opening this fall. We have an online store local to Vancouver, Canada, so closer to you guys, which I think it means cheaper shipping. Don't quote me on that. Maybe, don't quote me on that.
Probably not.
But it is closer. We have a company called Ponyville Wigs that's opening up, and I talk a lot about them because I am their cosplay ambassador. So I've been testing their wigs for the last year. Is it a year? Yeah, about a year. About a year I've been testing their wigs for them. So it's April here, and these wigs are by far the best quality and the most amazing wigs I've ever put on my head. Ever. And I'm a LARPer, a live action role player. So that's why, one of the reasons I was selected to test these wigs is I get handed these wigs and say, okay, go LARP with this. Okay, it's like a roll in the dirt, get smacked with weapons, and I come home and see how it brushed and how it washed. And they're incredible, so I can't wait for their full launch. I know that right now they're just at conventions, so they did Northwest Fan Fest last weekend, and they're doing Anime Revolution, if anybody's hitting that one up in Vancouver. They'll be at that one. I don't think they're hitting BronyCam. No, they're not hitting BronyCam. But again, like in the fall, they will be opening their online store, and they have been generous enough to sponsor the cosplay contest this year. So a couple of the winners will walk away with some vouchers for wigs. So when their online store opens, you can use your voucher to get a wig from them, and they are incredible quality, heat resistant. Yes?
You can use the voucher.
Yes, you can use it anytime. Sorry, you can use it. But their full store opens in the fall.
And then a couple more sources for people who don't want to make like their pony ears or horns or wings. There's some really great shops on Etsy. I mean, probably all familiar with the Ayaha shop. She sells a lot of pony ears. We've also got, the guy, there's a guy that makes pony ears, but he's actually in the vendor hall. He does have an Etsy store as well. But he's actually paired up with one of the vendors in there, so you'll see his stuff there. He's got like a Discord set, a crystal set, a regular pony set. Those are the top two that I highly recommend. There's plenty of other awesome Etsy shops there that make those as well. Those are just the two that I've tried, and I've really been satisfied with there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Etsy's a great place.
So again, with this, we were actually physically reading off the list of local supply places here. So again, if you want this list, we can supply it to you. I can email it or share the what?
Gosh, top level cool.
Oh yeah, you want to cook that?
Oh, and then the other thing is, what is your made out of? That's what I thought. So Warbler, which my helmet's also made out of, is a thermoplastic similar to Waterflex. There's tons of thermoplastics, Citra being one as well. You can get that from cosplaysupplies.com. It's the easiest for us to get it in the United States. There's actually free shipping as well. Warbler can be kind of expensive. Waterflex is going to be a little bit cheaper, and it's all going to be a very, very steep learning curve. So I warn you now, because it'll be interesting. It'll be fun.
Anybody who's worked with it knows that it's one of those things you're like, I don't really want it, I don't want to mess it up, I don't want to mess it up. Ah! But after you get the hang of it, it's amazing, as you can see by viewing these amazing costumes up here.
But again, you can use craft foam the same way. You get the same effect if you do a lot of sealing and want to work with it. But it is a cheaper way to do armor without having to buy thermoplastics. EVA foam is the same, it's just a thicker craft foam basically. That works really well for, like, a lot of people make their Halo armor out of it or Mass Effect armor out of it. You guys know what that is. Or like some Star Wars outfits too. Out of foam.
Hopefully tomorrow I'll be running around with some EVA control.
Awesome. So yeah, there's plenty of different options to achieve like a final product.
Dollar stores are amazing. Okay, so now that you've theoretically gone on your adventure and have researched, budgeted, picked your pony, done your design, gathered your supplies, last step, anyone guess? Making it! Exactly, make it! However you go about making it, take your time. I say that ironically.
And we always wait for the last minute.
Cosplayers, anyone who's cosplayed is notorious for knowing. I've seen some nods. Cosplayers are notorious for last minute additions, fixes, entire costumes. Every year I'll be prepared 4 days before the convention. Oh!
2 weeks before March. I want a new costume.
Seriously?
I have the fabric already.
Okay. Okay. Still.
The chrysalis in the opening ceremony is finished her costume in 2 days.
How much sleep did you get?
Well, I stayed up for 36 hours straight the past few days.
Oh, get some sleep. Did someone kneel in a bed? Okay, good. I did that 1 year. I was up all night sewing costumes. I was doing the commissioning like years ago. And I was up I think I was on, again, the 36th hour of being awake, and I'm sewing this costume, I'm sewing the last minute additions, and the fabric's coming up back over the sewing machine, and I thought it was a snake coming up. And I was like, God! And he's like, what? I'm like, it's trying to eat me!
So I know when you're pushing it to get your costume done, that you are going to take very long times where you're not sleeping. And I will just say that no matter what I say, you're still going to do it. But I will just say that when you are on that lack of sleep and things start going wrong, it's like that's always going to be the worst time, because then you're going to be angry and then things are going to continue to go wrong.
We used to have this joke that it wasn't a convention until someone cried or bled, or both. Especially in my group of friends, it was just like every year someone would break down into tears because something on their costume would malfunction. Every year. I think the best story I know was that I went to SacroCon and every single person in the room cried at one point because everyone had a costume malfunction, and I was the last one to go because I was trying to hold everyone together. I was dressed as Sailor Moon, and my Odongo kept popping off my freaking head. It just kept popping off. So it just popped off while I'm in the hotel room. It just flopped down, and I'm like, so my friend is like, no, don't worry, we got this. And she's like trying to sew it onto my head, and I'm just like, oh my God. It was a good con.
It usually is.
There always be costume malfunctions. That's why we have cosplay repair room.
Exactly.
Cosplay repair
We
room.
do. This year, Everfree has a cosplay repair room, and they are wonderful. I went in there and I borrowed a Sharpie to finish my crown. And
I walked in and said, give me stuff, and I walked out.
I was like, I need stuff, and they're like, yes, ma'am. And so they're amazing. Go in there if you have costume repairs or questions. They're happy to answer questions. They're very talented, very sweet people running that booth, and they're there pretty much the entirety of the con is open. So you have problems with your costume, run to them before you cry. Then they can cry for you.
Just so everybody experiences costume malfunctions, my wings are supposed to light up and they didn't work today. They're probably not going to be working.
That's why I was crying. Yeah, I can't remember how many times I was posing for pictures and people were like, wow, I look so great. I'm like, yeah, let's go rejected. Yeah, the other thing is don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, don't be afraid to go up to another cosplayer and ask questions, because it's very, very, very rarely you're going to run into a cosplayer that's just like, they do exist. They're very few and far between, and I haven't met any of them at my local convention yet.
It just happened to me.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not joking. So this is Duffy. So I'm walking down, and there was a girl, and she's like, "Oh, the Duffy, that was a good touch." And she's like, "The rest not so much." And I was like, "What?" It's in love, and I kept it in. I didn't go pink Amina. I just kept it in.
That attitude will get you kicked out of the costume contest this morning.
Yeah.
We
Don't let us
don't tolerate that.
I am a huge advocate of cosplay is for everyone. I started that hashtag with a friend of mine a couple years ago after I heard someone get berated and break down and cry. And she was a larger girl, but she had a gorgeous costume. And I hurt for her because I was like, your costume is amazing. There's no reason you should feel bad in it. And so my friend and I just went, no, this isn't happening. So her and I travel across America as a cosplay duo called Hitbox. So we started the hashtag cosplay is for everyone. Cosplay is not a contest. So while we do have cosplay contests and they're supposed to be fun and light-spirited, the essence and spirit of cosplay is not to compare yourself to everyone else and to belittle people. Cosplay is for every race, every gender, every body type. Cosplay is for everyone.
We're all just nerds in costumes.
Yeah!
When was that cosplay is for everyone thing, that hashtag thing?
Sorry?
When did you do that?
About a year ago?
Okay, I just wanted to look it up.
Yeah, I started it in Vancouver, so it hasn't spread yet. It hasn't spread yet.
Hey, I'll spread it.
I'm trying to spread the word, so every time I run a panel, I do my same speech, that cosplay is for everyone. That, like in Vancouver, a lot of people consider me to be like I don't know, professional cosplay, top tier, I don't care. Like, I just said whatever it takes. But commonly walk around the convention with a camera trying to take pictures of everyone else's cosplay because I want to promote that. I want people to feel like you can cosplay. You don't need to be this perfect Jessica Nagiri guy to cosplay. I'm not trying to bash them or say that they're not good cosplayers, but I want people to feel like you can cosplay, that you can stand up and say I'm cosplaying because I enjoy it. I love this fandom and I love to dress up and I'm a nerd at heart and so are you, so we should all just be nerds and dress up and have fun together. There's my rant.
And a lot of you guys that are in the Seattle area, there's plenty of costume groups that meet up like throughout the year outside of conventions that you can go to and you can meet other cosplayers and get photos taken. You can kind of like pass skills back and forth. Like it's a pretty good community around here for costuming. So yes.
I've
I'm a
heard,
really good photographer from here.
yeah, I've heard good things about the Seattle scene. Makes me sad because Vancouver's full of drama.
Oh, moving around. There's a lot of drama in Seattle too.
I think it's everywhere.
There's drama
I
in
think it's everywhere.
every.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the point where we say good luck every pony, but we'll open the floor for questions if anyone has questions specifically that we didn't answer.
Your helmet board, what did you make that out of specifically?
It's Warbler as well. So Warbler can it sticks to itself. So you can actually like press it together to like mold it. It's really hard to do because there's like this very small threshold between burning your hands and molding. And I did burn my hands a lot, but I kind of just like smushed it together and then I rolled it on a table.
Or not.
Did you use a heat gun for the heating? What method did you use?
Heat gun, yes. Yes, so I highly recommend heat gun. You can do it with a hair dryer, but it takes a lot longer. Heat
You
gun's
can
like
put the heat
$20.
in the oven.
I was going to say, I
Yes.
know someone who stuck Warbler in the oven, actually two guys that I LARP with, you know them.
Yes,
I do, I'm dating one of them.
Yeah.
These two brothers decided, we're going to make some armor, so they bought some thermoplastic, and they stuck a piece in the oven, and then they wore like four different sweaters and some oven mitts, and they took it out, pressed it against his chest, and just hugged each other.
He wasn't, they both weren't wearing the Warbler though, because then they would have stuck.
No. It was one person, and they both were wearing sweaters and gloves, and then they hugged each other so it would form to one of them, and then they did it the other. It was just.
Now I do recommend using heat gun in Warbler because you get a little bit more control because there's like I said, there's a small threshold with Warbler where if you go too hot, then you're like, I have this melting puddle of mess.
Well, if you go too hot, it creates air bubbles too.
That too, yeah. Really frustrating.
I actually kind of realized that there is a step that you guys missed, storage. You know, and I was wondering where that would fit along your steps.
Storage and transportation are very good points that I didn't even think of. You know, that's a really good
I don't
point.
think anyone's got it.
We transported wings,
I don't know if any of you remember, she was Celestia last year with big,
felt wings.
giant
They look
wings.
kind of like these ones, but they're white.
They look like these
And they're
ones,
like-
but they're like double the size.
The non-mold.
Wow.
Yeah, the non. I was the non-ball one. I have like I call it the mullet style dress because it is mullet style. It's short in the front and it trails out at the back, and it's very wispy.
She's Celestia from the Dear Princess now.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm the Dear Princess Celestia. If anybody's known that. No, I hate your panels. Oh, new faces. Yay.
That wasn't even.
Anyways, those wings.
Those wings are a pain. The first year we tried to transport them down, I'm sitting in the back and they're kind of bending up and I'm like, you guys are gonna fit, you're gonna fit, you're gonna fit. So transporting is never easy. That's one of those things to put into your account with your design. If you're going to take your cosplay on the road, think about how you're gonna travel. If you're flying by plane, you're gonna have to limit your cosplay because there's certain props that you just can't take apart enough to bring them on the plane, especially if you're not checking bags, which I never do.
I have a 6-foot lance that is unscrewable and collapses down.
I've seen those. Those are amazing. You can do like different versions of hardware. You get like dowels and like screws, and you can screw them together for long stabs and things like that. So again, put that into your design. If this is something you want to travel with, put that into account. With storage, I know lots of people who store theirs in different ways. I have to go through mine right now because I live with my boyfriend. And I own the closet.
I took over our second bedroom.
Yeah. We only have one bedroom, so when we unpacked everything, and he was really nice about it. He put all of his nice work shirts in the hall closet next to his jacket, and everything else he just kind of shoved into his dresser, and I own the rest of the closet. And I feel kind of bad, so I'm trying to make some space for him. So I found that some of the most organized costumes I've seen, actually April has one of the best organizations I've seen. She has plastic bins. She labels them, clear plastic bins, and she labels them by costume. Sometimes there'll be more than one costume. There'll be like Edward, Elric, and Envy, and they'll go into the same Tupperware, and you can clearly see everything.
Well, you can't put Edward and Envy in the same box.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, you can. Oh, yes, you can. I've seen the pictures. Schrodinger's Envy. Anyway, yeah, I find like there's different ways. I mean, it depends on where you live, if you have extra space, how you can store it, your storage space, your closets, but clear plastic bins with labels on them.
Well, you can get small ones too.
Yeah.
So if you have a very, very tiny costume and you want to keep it all together all the time.
No.
Oh, Sarah's calling me.
Different
Sarah.
right here.
You get the small bins and then you just put stuff in it, and then you can get the bigger bins for the bigger costumes, and then you get the giant bins for armor.
Yeah.
And so then you can just organize your closet by size. And you start with the big ones on the bottom so you don't have them falling on you when you go to get them.
That's smart. Do you have a question?
So
Comment?
one thing I've done for storage is IKEA has the cube, you know, they have the cubbies.
Brilliant.
I love those because I can put them under my clothes in the closet, and they come right about the bottom height of your clothes, so you can use all that wasted space in the closet. So you can have one for like gloves and tights and, you know, ears and tails and whatever. But
That's brilliant.
especially since I have 3 kids and all of their costumes, and so sometimes it's easier just to categorize by parts, at least for all the accessory stuff. And then we just have right above that on one side, we have just all the costumes.
That's perfect.
So.
And you're always going to get better at storing stuff. If you want to look at like a real organized thing after, I suggest a Kamui cosplay. Because she makes all mortal armor, and she's from Veridian. And she always like finds, because she travels like everywhere, so she has to make this giant armor like fit into one little suitcase, and she's like a master at it. I don't know, it's kind of wizardry. And then like one of my suggestions is I have a lot of different comparison things. I just put a little hook on my wall, and then I hang them up on the wall above everything. So that seems to work out.
It's
Good
again,
wall decoration.
it's the creativity and using your space, and there's lots of different ways to utilize it. I mean, we can give you tips and tricks, but it really depends on where you're trying to store things and how much space you have to store things, and if you live in your own place, or you have roommates, or you know if you have storage access or external storage, or you know. Sort of figure out a way to keep yourself organized. It is best if you have a specific place for your costumes so they don't get damaged or wrecked or anything.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
With your wings, how do you mount them to yourself? Like, do you use the PVC pipe that everybody else does? Or?
They're actually I have a really, really thick wire. It's 9-gauge wire. This is how I've been making most of my lanes. Craft foam's light enough, so it's actually going to work really well with it. So they're actually similar to like what you might see with the fairy wings. I wear a corset, and then they slip behind the corset, and the corset holds it to my back. So they're completely strapless and very lightweight, and I don't get the little burns from having straps on my arms.
This is the other design that we have, because we have the felt wings, and they have like the straps on them. So basically, it's like a bra strap, and generally we will do them in the color that you're going to do your dress. So these are Twilight wings, right? So she's got a lavender color dress, and we've got the lavender colored strap, so it kind of blends in as Celestia, and I think we have flesh color, so they blend in with our flesh, and then we have like a waist strap. So that's kind of how we do that. There's different ways of mounting them. It kind of depends on the costume. I know some people who actually use like heavy, like big, thick snaps, and have snapped it on the back of their costume, especially if it's stiff. I know people who use big earth magnets. So
there's lots of ways to do it. My way is really cool, but it's also limited to the fact that you do have to have some sort of waist cincher or corset or like any sort of thing like that to hold it against your back.
I don't know if I'm going to sound stupid when I say this, but is there like a big difference between like those who literally like are sort of like fursuiters? Like I've seen like the Shining Armor who's holding his wife. Is there like a big difference between like this cosplaying and that cosplaying?
As far as
One's hotter.
As far as I'm concerned, cosplay is cosplay, and it's however you feel you need. It's however you want to express yourself. So if you want to bring the cosplay to life in a human form and do full armor, I see no difference. But again, that's my personal view.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I know there's been this weird stigma of fursuits, but it's really, I mean, they put in like more work than I put in my costume.
Yeah.
It is a lot of work, and that fur is so expensive, and the whole that they do to make the shapes is so
Time
expensive.
consuming.
I did a costume that, like, because you can really learn from fursuits. They have a lot of great techniques. I actually did a costume where I had an Arcanine from Pokemon, and I had a headdress that I actually looked at fursuit tutorials on how to make the face look like an Arcanine. And so, like, a little bit into that, not nearly as much as a full fursuit, but they're impressive.
Yeah.
And they're just one of us.
One of us. I mean, the sad thing is with any fandom and with any genre, you're gonna have the people that just push it a little too far, that push those boundaries. They don't get the social cues, and they tend to give everyone else sort of that weird vibe, and it sort of creates the stigma. I mean, there's lots of people who look at cosplayers in general and think we're all just a bunch of big weirdos, and they're totally right, but. But you know, what I'm trying to get across is that I don't see a difference in them, and I've met a lot of people who will dress in full fursuits who are really good people underneath, and they're really awesome people, and they like to dress up like a giant pony and toss their wife.
So, interesting point on that too, depending on the fandom you're in. So, for example, let's take the League of Legends community. They hate fairies just because they're very internet trolled, and that's sort of the thing they go. But I cosplay Rengar, and that's totally okay. So it's very hypocritical. It's totally dependent on who you talk to. So don't let them discourage you. Just understand that some people will hate you just because you're a person.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
It's like, it's not your costume's fault. Your costume's probably amazing. It's just their fault that they hate people.
Hate is gonna hate.
I mean, there's a little, Equestria Daily just started their, well, didn't just start, but a while ago they did their cosplay compilations. It took forever to get fursuits in that. And like people are pushing for it, and I was actually an email contact where it's like, well, we just don't want people to harass them because we know like communities have mean. I'm just like, just do it. Like, just do it. I mean, that's the only way to get people more used to it and stop being so mean is when people can call them out for being mean in public.
Yeah, and it's true. I mean, like Justin wore his Rengar at the Sakura Con this year, and I was actually handling for him because he had like tunnel vision.
That's it.
You can see good enough. See like this. Yeah, and it was just an incredible cosplay, and you know, like these costumes, some people put a lot of work into them.
And some people are still interested regardless. So
Yeah, but then you know, you'd see him in Rengar and you'd be like, oh my god, it's a furry. But when you see him out of costume, hey, you're actually a pretty cute Asian boy. So I kind of look at it just that way. I take everyone. I mean, and that's my personal view. I take everyone for who they are, not what they're dressed like. So if they come off as creepy, I usually be like, okay, well, you're being kind of creepy. But and it usually has nothing to do with the costume and everything they do with them just being creepy.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Being in character.
Being in character. I'm a big fan of that.
But there's times that you should be in character.
I don't know, going to Tim Hortons. Sorry, you guys don't have that. Going to 7-Eleven. Yeah, going to 7-Eleven and acting really in character. The clerks are just like.
I think you're crazy. And
Just
possibly ask me.
Yes.
Can you show us an example of you being characters in your cosplay?
Which one of us?
Yes.
I'm not here. Are we talking like right now? Or?
Yeah.
Have you explained that what your cosplay is?
I think does everyone?
Yeah,
I hangover cadence.
Cadence, yes.
Yeah. I was gonna have a martini glass. I don't have a martini glass.
Oh.
It was gonna be empty, right? Just be like. Sorry, you're not paying attention to me. What's at home alone with the kids?
What kids?
Yeah. Just pay attention to me. I'm not allowed to be in character when I'm playing Applebee. No.
How often is like safety a concern? Because like I've noticed putting masks and stuff on, like decreased visibility is a thing, or if there's like footwear.
You need handlers.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that if you are planning on making a costume that is going to have limited visibility, please find somebody that can travel with you through the con and be your handler. Basically, they're going to make sure that you're staying hydrated. They're going to make sure that you're not tripping over little kids that you can't see. Making sure that the costume's all together because you can't particularly see what you look like through limited vision. I've worn a costume like that before. I was dressed up as an alien from Mass Effect, and I can't see anything in that mask. I wore it to a convention. I don't even remember the convention because I couldn't see anything.
I've been on both sides of that spectrum too. I've been the one being handled. That sounds really dirty. And I've been a handler. Like this last SacreCon, I did officially for the first time for April, Justin, and another friend of ours. They had these really extravagant League of Legends cosplays. So I came and I just basically had a pink sweater and my hair. So I was going as casual cadence. One person recognized me and I was like, high five! Yeah! Okay. And then I just walked around and helped them out. So if you have a friend that is willing to do that for you, if you want to create this extravagant cosplay that's harder for you to move in, it doesn't necessarily have to be low visibility, but harder for you to move in, and big wings or someone, just having that one person there that can help you out is a huge deal. And usually they accept food as a bribe. Usually.
As an additional point to that, be very, very sure about what pieces you can and cannot take off by yourself.
Yes.
And plan out your washroom rates.
Yes.
Because that could be really bad.
Yes. I remember having to try to go pee as Zelda for the first time. Big ballroom gown, and I couldn't lift my arms up here, like past this. So my friend actually had to come into the stall with me, and it was like when you're peeing, she had to like hold the dress up. And I'm like squatting over the toilet, and I'm just like, don't pee on the dress, don't pee on the dress, don't pee on the dress.
Definitely Celestia too.
Yeah, ball gown, big ball gown dresses that definitely do it. Yeah, so yes.
Do you have tips on post-con wig care?
For the
Keep your wigs
costume.
nice after the convention. Sleep.
Don't let your cat pee on it.
You know. That's actually something that you want to consider when you are making your costume is whether or not the fabrics are washable. If you have attachments on a fabric that aren't washable, make sure that you might plan on how to get it off. A lot of times if I have something that I can't necessarily wash, I'll wear undergarments, like everything under it, so I can wash my undergarments and don't necessarily have to wash the outer layer. Although sometimes that doesn't always help because if you sweat a lot, it's still going to reach the outer shell.
Yeah.
So that is something that you kind of have to take in, take in when you're planning the costume. Like my Celestia costume from last year is completely washable polyester, so I literally just take the entire dress off and put it in the washer.
Yeah, I have a few costumes I can do that too. My Celestia and my Zelda I cannot because of all the detail on it. My Celestia, while not being extravagantly detailed, has the cutie mark done in just acrylic, so it would come off and it would run in the water. So I actually have to hand wash it around the cutie mark, and I have to be very careful not to get anything on the cutie mark or pooped. No.
Dry clean is an option too.
Yeah, dry clean is an option. I find it if you're on a budget though, hand washing very delicately in the sink or the bathtub usually work. Yeah, as Mary said, just take into account what you're getting and how you're getting into it, and can you wash it?
There's also some sprays that you can look into. If you have a costume that can't be washed or can't be dry cleaned or anything like that, you can look into the theatrical sprays because there's a lot of theatrical costumes that they actually can't wash or can't dry clean. So sometimes it's just half alcohol and half water and you just spritz your costume. Sometimes it's vinegar and water, and then there's a bunch of other ones you have to look online for them because each theatrical company will tell you about it but not tell you about it, so you have to do your research.
On that note, Febreze and Axe Cleaner do not work
They work for 20 minutes.
They work for 20 minutes. They are not a permanent solution to stink. We're going to throw that out there, because I know some people think that's a good idea.
For that, there's actually, if you go to like a local pet store, I used to work in Mud Bay, we sold a product called Pure Air, and it's like a thing that gets cat pee out of everything. It's great. It's
I had to
wonderful.
do that once, yeah.
Yeah, and so it works on any bad, nasty stink, cigarette smoke, whatever. So Pure Air, if you need to get nasty smell out of your costume for whatever reason.
I can't even believe I forgot about that, because I literally had a cat pee on my Zelda costume. Freaked out. Questions? Oh. Are we now? Are we out? What are we doing?
I think we went over anything else.
Well, yes.
It's 3:50 now. Okay, so we're just closing up. So I'm gonna pull open the Google Doc so people can come up and give me their email addresses if they want us to email them I guess that's probably easier. We have paper and pens up here, and then I'll copy it down, and we can send you the link to the PowerPoint so you can have a look through it yourselves. We'll make sure that we have the contact information if you guys have more questions for us. One question in the back, we can take one last question.
Do you still have the cat?
My cat actually passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay. I was like, should I tell him? Make him feel bad? No. It's okay. I had her for 6 years, so she did go early, but she went peacefully. And now I have 2 more, and they're lovely and cute, and they haven't peed on anything.